Welcome to the Go Team Live, the Meaning of Life, Quest HQ podcast, a live event. We have our community gathering to share knowledge, information, and wisdom experience, which personally is my favorite way to learn. It's my favorite way to speed up my growth and expansion, which is the meaning of life to me. I love being here in this community because it always impresses me, the people that come on as guests. And thankfully, the guest for this episode actually kind of was a little bit taken aback by how responsive the audience was and how much she enjoyed being on the podcast. So it was so great to have Lorraine Garvie, the owner of District 32. So District 32 is a networking company that's on both sides of the country of Australia. And when I met Lorraine, I was instantly taken by her magnetic energy, and I just wanted to be part of that vibe that Lorraine had. And so since then, we've had such fantastic experiences in her coaching to just chatting. And recently I've seen this awesome shift in Lorraine, which kind of connects the dots with Game On. And I'd love to have her on the podcast, and it really had been an absolute treat to have her as a guest. So I hope you enjoy this podcast as much as we did. And I think Justin believed it was one of the better podcasts. Well, he said the best. He is an enthusiastic man. So why would you think that this was the best of the podcast, Justin? And no disrespect to our previous guests.
No disrespect at all. It was just, I definitely felt a connection with, I guess, the pivot point of Lorraine, or her talking about drive. But I also think that she completely sees the depth of of the mind, of the consciousness, of everything. And I think she's very aware of it, and she knows how to speak about it and address it and communicate it in a way that makes sense, right? And it's kind of like a guiding beacon to, I guess, make sense of some complicated thoughts that not everybody can describe too easily. So I think in that sense, she was really great at being able to decipher some of these more complicated depths of thinking. And I think that will resonate really well with a lot of people. And for me, I think that's why this was one of the better podcasts we've done, because I just feel like it's more encompassing, and there'll be a lot more value in this episode for a lot more people. And yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt that was a really nice rounded answering from the audience to get that, completeness, the full circle of, everyone's experience thrown into the mix to create a beautiful pot, a stew.
Yeah. And I think also this question of hers was one of the few questions we've had on the podcast where everybody's answers was not easily able to be connected to the same thing. It was a deeper question that you could go down, because, can you completely connect with your spirit? That's a yes or no answer. And I don't really think many people touched on that aspect of it purely in their answers. But that's not a bad thing, because it let them go, deeper into what it means to them. And the answers were different and unique, but it all contributed.
Let's not give away the question. Let's people enjoy this podcast brought to you by Game On. So Go Team Live is an acronym. The GO is an acronym for Game On, and Game On is an acronym, and it is our powerful journaling system that we've created to be able to tick box in your morning routine or evening, whichever routine you choose for your mental wellness, your, ass-kicking aspect to your day, wherever you like to fit in journaling. And if you can't fit it in, this is what we have for you: a simple and effective tool to change your mindset. And it's a very simple thing to do, because what we do in the app is answer the question, what we're grateful for, the fastest way to happiness. You're able to find, what is supporting you in your life and what's working for you. And that gives you that feeling of abundance in life that we so desperately need, or, so commonly lack. And then we have awareness, the A, awareness for how we're feeling, which improves our emotional intelligence, improves our relationship with ourselves, having that moment to check in and spending time with ourselves and our thoughts, which is so fantastic for being able to then, utilize that skill to be able to see into the people around us, to improve our relationships with others, and dissipate negative feelings, amplify positive feelings. And it's just such a powerful aspect to Game On, that element of awareness. Then we move to our intention, and our intention for the day, just like The Secret, is a great way to manifest your day and then your life. And the fantastic part of having your intention straight after your awareness is that you get to write your day out to alleviate any, stresses, anxieties, or tension that you feel in your current state, and then write your day out to be able to really fast forward to that place you want to be. And that sets your mind into motion to be able to creating those steps. And that cannot be denied. That is setting your motion, and that will create a level of success that you may never have had before. And like I say, just that combination of things is so powerful. We then move on to our mindful moment, and our mindful moment helps us relieve stress and anxiety and increase our level of happiness by having a drip feed of the philosophy of mindfulness, whether that be in an audio, a video, a written mindful moment, or writing your own from your own wisdom and experience in the time you spend in that mindful awareness and that loving awareness space. From there, we move on to the organized non-doing. And organizing non-doing is like living your lotto life. It is having time. And what would you do in life if you had the resource of more time? You may do less in life, knowing that success is abound to you by giving your opportunity to do less. And that gives you time for creativity, connection to your spiritual path. And these things are the answer to success. What comes before success and after success? It's that figuring out, does success come from doing more, or does success come from letting go? And with that, we bring you to this epic podcast event with Lorraine Garvie with the Go Team Live. Let us roll the tape. Go Team. So welcome to the Go Team Live, a Meaning of Life Quest HQ podcast event. I am so stoked to have Lorraine Garvie on the call, because when I was working on my laughter yoga business and working out how to navigate, I decided to go down to a networking event that Lorraine was putting on. And it was a rare opportunity that Lorraine got up, because she wouldn't normally speak at her own events, but for this particular one, she got up and she told me this absolutely beautiful story about, you know, her growing up and the way that family dynamic was, and just put this picture in my mind of this, you know, happy-go-lucky kid that was just eager to, you know, get a grip on life and just make it her own. And Lorraine is originally from Scotland and currently is been working on District 32 for, how many years is District 32? 9?
9, yeah.
She has a degree in computer science. It's also qualified business facilitator, a certified coach in life and business as a qualification in NLP. And having spent 5 years prior to District 32 as a business coach, and myself included as a client of Lorraine's, you know, can vouch for her, just that energy and that lived experience, and just being able to make things clear, lighthearted, fun, and make you want to work on your business, you know. And it was just that energy that you can't get off the shelf that I just was so, you know, magnetized to Lorraine. She's now busy with her young daughter and the expansion of District 32 to the East Coast. She has a passion in personal development and the exploration of human potential. And that is why I bring her on today, because whenever we get a chance to talk, it's just such a beautiful, expansive conversation about where we're at and where we're heading. In her quest for inner peace, she spent the last 15 years studying meditation and spirituality. She sat on a 10-day silent Vipassana retreat and has been invited into Kriya by the Yogis and into inner engineering with Sadguru. Lorraine is currently a student of shamanism with a desire to delve deeper into the realms of spirituality, consciousness, and healing. So she's ticking so many boxes of interest for me. This is going to be a great conversation. We've got some interest from the audience about where we're going to go and what we're going to be able to pick up. And I will open by asking you, Lorraine, how are you feeling right now after hearing about your own introduction? How does that grab you?
I think it's fantastic, Peter, and it reminds me back, because then you're talking about the initiation with the Yogis. That's where I first met Davey. And I think was that 8 years ago, Davey, that I met you with the Yogis. So it's then I've worked with you, Peter, and I've worked with Davey, and he done some breath work with him. It's the circles we move in. But thank you. It was a beautiful introduction.
Yeah, I was telling you, Lorraine, that your name came up in last week's podcast. And I was telling people, oh, Lorraine's actually on next week. So, yeah, it is awesome to have, you know, the circles that we keep are actually so exciting. Like for podcast guests myself, you know, there's you know, different places I can pick up guests from around the world with different experiences. But I'm finding that there's so much experience and knowledge in the people that I know directly. And it's just more, you know, heart-centered and more interesting and exciting for me to bring on people that I know quite well, and then be able to, you know, hear more about their stories and kind of connect a little deeper with them, which, so the next time that we do bump into each other, we've got this knowing connection, which just enhances our relationship, which, you know, is definitely part of the Go Team Live community gathering potential that we've created here. So that,
and good for you, Pete.
Yeah, it's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to start our journey with you, Lorraine, by if you could take us through a meditation. And what I love about the starting with a meditation is you learn so much about the individual with their unique style and take on meditation. You know, there's just so much depth to a person by what they decide to share with the meditation. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, Lorraine.
Well, thank you very much for that beautiful intro, Pete. What I'm going to do is just take us through a really short 5-minute shamanic journey. Now, what is a shamanic journey? A shamanic journey is where you open yourself up to receiving information. And that information can be from spirit, it can be realms of consciousness, it can be imagination, or it can be your guides. Whatever language you want to use or you feel comfortable using, then that's the language. Sorry, my cat now wants in on the podcast. Then that's the language you use. But really, it's about opening yourself up to receiving information that's already there for you and that we can tap into at any time. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just take through that, and I'm going to ask us to bring something back from that shamanic journey so that we can use that to ask our question later in the podcast. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on timer, and I'm just going to play some shamanic drums in the back. I'm going to open up the elements. We're going to go on the journey. When I've asked you to ask your question, we'll stay there for a couple of minutes, and then I'll guide you back. And Pete, if you can just confirm, please, that you can hear the drums. Can you guys hear the drums there in the background? No. It's only you that can hear them, Justin. Can you hear them? Right, okay. And I'll put the timer on. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll ask you all to close your eyes and just breathe nicely, breathe slow, deep. And I'm going to invite the elements in. So I'm going to open up with the element of the air and the wind of the east, home to the winged ones, and the earth, the air that allows us to breathe. I'm going to open the element of the earth and the grounding of the south, which is home to the food that nourishes us, and acknowledgement of the Wajak Noongar people. Open up the element of the water in the west, which is home to our oceans, our waterfalls, our rivers that hydrate and wash us. And open to the element of the fire in the north, which is home to the energy that serves us, keeps us warm, eats our food. Thank you to Mother Earth, Father Sun, and Wankatanka in between. I'm just going to ask you again to take another few deep breaths. And I'm going to ask you to connect with nature and imagine that you're going on a walk within nature. I want you to feel your feet firmly on the ground. Imagine a really grounding, beautiful place in nature, wherever that is for you. It might be the beach, it may be mountains, it might be a park. As you walk, I'd like you to experience and be aware of everything that's all around you with all five senses. What can you see, smell, taste, feel, and touch? Now, as you walk along in the beauty of the nature, you find an opening or a portal that you can step through. I'd like to approach the door, the opening, the portal, and step through. And when you're on the other side, you're going to be greeted by a guide, an image, a voice, whatever language it is that you're going to use. And what I'd like you to do is just acknowledge that guide and thank you. Now, what I'd like you to ask your guide today, and please just trust the first image or word or sense that comes to you and trust it. What I'd like you to do is ask your guides, what is it that I'm holding on to in my life that may not be serving me in a healthy way now? And just listen. Say that again. What is it that I'm holding on to in my life that may not be serving me in a healthy way now? And if you get some information, you can ask more questions about that. So what is it that I need to know? What is it that I can change? Is this something that I can deal with now? And I just want you to acknowledge the information, acknowledge the guides, say thank you for the information. Have an acknowledgement of respect in some way or acknowledgement, and then just make your way straight back out of the opening, the door, the portal. Feel your feet firmly back on the ground and walk back through nature, again using all your five senses to bring you back: the sight, the touch, the smell. Walk back through nature. just going to close down the elements again. I'm going to close down the element of the air and wind of the east, the element of the earth and the grounding of the south, the element of water, west, the element of fire in the north. Thank you to Mother Earth, Father, Son, and Wankatanga in between. And that's, I'll just put the music off. And yeah, I'll be asking people later or on the question, or what is it that you're bringing back to the session? What is it that you received on there that might be stopping you to living your life in the fullest expression?
Thank you, Lorraine. That was a journey. That was...
It's a short journey, but it's a journey all the same.
That was unique. I love going on a walk. I love going through nature, and the ability to do that in my living room is just amazing. And like I say, that knowledge based, and like I could tell that that's something that's coming from your experience and what you love to do as well. And
I think that information's all accessible to us all the time. We just don't trust it, and we just don't tap into it. And I think that's it was an important lesson for me, just to trust my intuition and trust that the information is already there around us. We just need to tune into it.
Yes. And would you think that it's what kind of holds people back? Is it like a lack of time, stillness, or just too captivated in their journey that would keep them away from that intuitive path?
I think we're just all too busy trying to achieve bigger, better, faster, more. We're just overloaded with who we need to be and what we need to do and how things are meant to be. I've heard, again, I'll bring you in, Davey, again, I've heard you describe it before, I'm going to get this business, I'm going to generate this money, and I'm dragging everybody with me, so that sheer ambition. But then, the ambition for me and that drive for me, it comes from a misconception around needing to create safety and security, and it's that misconception that then drives you to the nth degree, to your own detriment, looking for bigger, better, faster, more. So we just don't ever, I know it sounds cliche, but we just don't stop and smell the roses.
Yeah. Which brings us to your pivot, your life journey that has been from that young girl, in this, tell me that story again, because I loved it the first time I heard it, but from that point to now, that journey, did you have this same endeavor and pluck and enthusiasm when you were small, and did that drive you throughout your entire life?
I think, Pete, I've got absolutely no idea what story I told when I met you the first time, but I'm just glad I'm an honest person. I'm likely to tell the same story again. When I was growing up, we're in Scotland, so there's no silver spoons in Scotland. They're just poor as church mice. And I think when I was growing up, I didn't realise it until just recently. There was an awful lot of bullying, massive low self-worth. We were just the family were just, all alcoholics, the talk of the town. You were always having to fight, physically fight, to stick up for yourself, try to protect the family. And then I think you come through that with a sense of, you don't realise it at the time, but you carry with you a real sense of, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not as good enough as everybody else. They all have a certain social status and we weren't. So when I left school, I didn't do much for a wee while. I didn't go back to study and get a job really until I was 20. But then there was this drive to have the best degree and the best job. And I had to go into computer programming because it was the most money at the time, and had to be in the world of IT. It was all male dominated as well. So it was just drive. And then even that wasn't enough. When I was got a job in IT, then I had to have a second job, and I'm always studying something else. So I I'm one of these, typically what they would call overachievers, but it wasn't coming from a positive place. It was always coming from this place of lack. It's never enough, never enough. So that drive, just carries you through, and it's just, you suffer. The health suffers, the spirituality suffers, the intuition is wiped out. You just go exhaustion, pushing yourself to the edge to be worthy, if you like. And, that was going up just until, recently. It's only the last 18 months that I've been on this massive personal development journey. And I've finally had the time to slow down and smell the roses. And I think I'd put in my bio, I've just experienced this series of softenings. And it's Richard, I'll say it wrong, Richard Rudd, who I've been studying The Gene Keys, and he describes it as this series of softenings, and that really landed with me so well. So it's like a series of softenings. You can, through breath work, through emotional breakthroughs, through transformation, and the more I settled into this, and the more I'd be meditating, and the more I'd be exploring, then you start getting downloads, and you start getting the tears, and you start getting the signs. And then that just becomes, it was more and more and more over the last, the last while. And I'm just it's like I don't know, it just seems to be, once the door's open, it's open, to transformation and emotional breakthroughs. And then it's just a series of one thing after another. And now I look at myself now, and I can be this soft, feminine woman, still highly driven. But beforehand, my intuition was just cut off. My intuition was cut off. My emotions were cut off. I was too busy driving because I was going to make it. And I had to protect myself and my safety and, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that drive and I'm grateful for every minute of it, because that drive has brought me to exactly where I am now. My thanks, Justin. It's brought me to exactly where I am now, because if I wasn't so bloody unhappy, I wouldn't have went seeking, then you go seeking for transformation and seeking for greater depth. So that's where I'm at. I think you were asking me to come to the pivotal moment. So I've experienced, these awakenings, if you like, a series of awakenings over a while. But I just came to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. Like with the drive for the business, right? And it was just all consuming. My life wasn't working for me. I wasn't taking care of my health. The relationships were a non-issue, just non-event. Going out was a non-event. It was just all-encompassing business, drive, money, safety, to the detriment of everything else. And I just came to a point, and I thought, I just can't do this anymore. I just can't. And this is on top of the softenings, but I guess the softenings and the awakening led me to the point for me to say, I'm not doing this anymore. It doesn't matter what the cost is. I'm not doing this anymore. And in doing so, I had to sit with fear. So I actually physically sat in my bedroom with tremendous fear. And I sat with a notepad and a pen, and I thought, right, okay, so if everything all goes to shit, where will I live? And I thought, this person won't see me homeless, and this person won't see me homeless. And I thought, how am I going to feed my daughter, and how am I going to send her to school? And I was like, right, well, our dad gives me money. We're split up. He gives me money. That'll pay for that. And how long will it take me to get some coaching clients? How long will it take me to earn, replace that income? And I reckoned I could probably do it in 6 weeks. So when I sat with the fear, though, and I let it all go, and I thought, what will be, I'm just going to surrender to what is. I'm not going to control everything by the neck. I'm just going to let it all go. And when you do let it all go, or when I did let it all go, the magic that happens just in such force and in such speed, it's as if somebody's waved a magic wand. Like, you pinching myself. I'm on the phone to my business partner saying, what is going on? What is going on? And that just, that happened in business. It's happened in life. It's happened in finances. And it's just, so that pivotal moment for me is I'd often heard the story of you have to let go to grow. And I thought it was a function or a process or a team member or the budget or whatever it was. It's not, it's everything. You have to let go of everything. The house, the money, the job, the relationships, you got to let go of everything. And when you do, yeah, magic. That's when you can let magic into your life.
I am all ears. I am in that place right now where I'm like, wow, like how can I just keep going, with all of the weight of what I have on my shoulders? So yeah, I am listening. I believe I'm on a pretty, sound path of, just keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm not letting go. I'm still tightly holding the wheel. So yeah, you got me at a good time. I'm definitely listening to this time because I can see it in your face. I can see it in the tone of your voice, and I believe you as a very good friend that you're saying truths here. Like, so that you get this moment where you've let go, and everything just seems to like be mushrooming in a positive like expansion way for you in your life. And you're talking to your business partner saying, I don't know how this is happening. So you're saying the processes weren't changing. There was no change other than your own personal, like, grip on life.
So there's definitely there's a decision that's made, but that decision is made from inside you. That decision it switches from I'm not good enough, why am I not making it when everybody else is, to this is not good enough for me. And that decision comes from a deep, deep place in your belly. So your inner being has absolutely changed. I'm not doing this anymore. It's not good enough for me. And then when you make that decision, your thinking, your language, your behavior is changing because you move from a place of shit, where am I going to get this money? How am I going to do this? How am I going to rob Peter to pay Paul? There's all this stress. Your customers are feeling it. The staff are feeling it. And your language changes to what will be. Let's have some fun. Let's see what's possible here. From a place of non-fear and non-lack and non-scarcity. So it's, let it go. So that changes. The vibration from within you changes your language, your thinking, and then your actions. But it's definitely comes from an internal place first. It's definitely that decision, and it's different from a regular decision on I'm going to go to the gym this week, or I'm not going to do that anymore. It's a deep decision. You're a statement that you're making to the universe. I'm not doing this anymore. That's it. The line's drawn, and yeah, that triggers different thinking, different vibration.
Different vibration. That's what I'm thinking. Like, so when you're meeting new clients, they're drawn to your energy. They're going, this person seems to be confident on a different level than what I'm used to.
It's just we're having different calls instead of having sales calls to generate money because we need it. I'm having calls around how can I serve you because I want to.
Yeah.
And that's very different. And yeah, the tone of the emails, the tone of the marketing changes, the tone of the calls changes, everything changes, which it's everything contributes to the external changes in the business.
I love it. So if I can ask you where your head was at to get to this question, like we've kind of been talking about it, I'm sure. But is there the time that from when I started talking with you and introducing the idea of coming on the podcast, has that kind of made you, the reflection on where you're at now and to come to that question, has that been something that's been an interesting kind of place to go in your own like thought process?
I think my own journey then from experiencing that moves to surrender in all areas of your life. And that becomes like an unfolding. It's an unfold. What else can I surrender to? And just look at things as they present themselves to you. But then I realized, because that's happened for me, I can hear it in other people's conversations, and I can see other people's constructs around what they're holding on to. So they might be holding on to the business or a job or a process or the money or the salary or the relationship, and whatever it is that they're holding on to, because they think they have to be someone, or they think they have to be safe, in my instance, and have security. And I just thought that was a really important question for me. And if I could have asked, invited people to think about that one thing they're had, because there's a lesson in there, even if you don't know what the answer is yet. When we did that shamanic little journey, the thing that comes up for you that you're holding on to, that came up for a reason. And it's worth exploring. So I just think, if I can help somebody to just focus on something that they're not surrendering to, then that can help.
Sure. So the question is specifically,
Well, I had put here, can you surrender completely to spirit in your life, or the world, or the universe, or whatever language that you choose to use? Can you surrender completely, or is there something that you're really, really holding on to? And I'd be interested to know if you got something like that in your little journey at the start, or if it's something different that you're thinking now. And yeah, what is that? And is it something that you like to explore? And not necessarily, not now, but did something come up? Is that helpful?
Okay. Thank you. As Justin would say, that is a great question. I love this, because what the tricky thing for me is, when I was thinking about what my learning was, I don't always love the question that I've got. All right, so the question comes up, or the answer, or the lesson, like, what is it that I'm holding on to? And I'm like, no, not that one. Next. Like, I'm trying to find one that I like, and it's like, I can't find any others in there. This one's hanging around. It's really stuck. I really can't shift it to get a new one. So what mine is trying to be, I don't know about liked, but trying to impress upon myself to certain people when they're unresponsive, they're on their own journey, and they have no care for what I'm doing, or who I am. And it's like, oof, like, why am I trying to impress these people that have no interest? And it's not important at all. So I'm trying to shift that one, but then it's like, no, and then you talk about letting go. Then you bring in the words letting go, and where that can take me. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's what if I can let go of that care of trying to please everybody, and including, the people that were coming up in my thought, where does that leave me? That leaves me so much space to just enjoy what I do, enjoy my experience, have a little bit more, lighthearted play, and yeah, just really embrace, the positives that I get out of what I do, instead of, worrying about, certain individuals that aren't really like picking up on it, because they're not really who I'm. It's not for them. It's not like I'm, and I'm talking about, like, just straight up, it's like ex-partner, and it's like, why would I care? We're clearly exes for a reason. Like, it's unnecessary that I have to like make them happy anymore. And if it is what it is, so, but then it can expand to like greater circles and people and things, because if we're in the public, if we're public figures and we're trying to, express an opinion or a potential, there's so much wash out there that, most people aren't going to pick that up. So yeah, letting go. I love that, because it takes a lot of weight off the shoulders, and yeah, that's off to a great start.
think it becomes just a door for exploration onto what's missing within inside us to then need that external validation. I had told you I had the same when I was coming on this podcast. I usually hide behind the business, or the brand, and so it's a door for me to explore as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay. Well, would anyone like to, or Lorraine, would you like to go deeper into your own question, or?
No, I'll just see if some. On you go, Justin. Justin's want to share.
Justin wants to have a go. Keen's been.
Yeah, I thought while it's all still fresh from last night, this was a perfect question. For me, it definitely like sort of goes with the headspace that I'm in. I can, and I have always been able to completely surrender to spirit or walk through that door, but I never really understood that's what I was doing. And I used to, just call it intuition, or I used to just sort of call it the craziness of my mind or whatever. And, I was never able to describe these sorts of things until I started doing the work, with Peter on Game On and interacting with Davey and finding that there's like this massive community of people who are understanding of the same concepts of the thoughts that I'm, thinking and receiving and everything like that. So I really loved the question. And at the start, the something that I am holding on to, or something that I'm aware of and I am letting go gradually bit by bit, is and this also ties in with the gene keys, it's the current biggest shadow that I'm dealing with, and it's like it's conflict, right? Not avoiding conflict, but like, I guess, handling it. And for a long time, I've always tried to do whatever I can to avoid that conflict. So even if it's in a conversation, like, I will intentionally not bring up or say or do certain things that might cause any sort of conflict, whether it be a relationship, whether it be payment, whether it be absolutely anything. Because, doing the work, I've realized that, I feel completely misunderstood. And I see evidence of it every day, like everywhere I look. I know that many people can't understand certain things I try to explain. And when I am then having conversations with people or trying to share myself or share my story or give advice or, avoid conflict, it's because I don't know if they will truly understand what I'm trying to say, and if they're going to take it in the way that I'm trying to present. Like, this is a good thing, but they didn't understand me about this, so maybe they won't think it's a good thing, and maybe then there'll be conflict. And yeah, so it is one of those things that I'm aware of, that I am letting go of, and it's been doing really well for me recently. I think it was the last key, sort of the last lock, behind me, or in front of me, and I have noticed that, things are changing, like, for the better. Like, and I wrote this to Peter yesterday. It's like time is noticing. Time is a point where I'm moving to, where things will be as I imagine them to be, because it's now aware that I am boundless in a sense. Like, if I can keep this momentum up, and if I can unlock all these doors and keep moving forward, time is attracted to that, and it's essentially magnetism in a way. But yeah, awesome question. Definitely gets me thinking. Definitely gets me down the route of depth and into the rabbit hole, for sure. Thanks for the question.
No, you're very welcome. I think it's a really beautiful place in life when you can recognize your shadows, and when some things present themselves to you, you can say, where's the teaching in this? It's a very different way to approach life and your shadows, rather than asking, what's wrong with me? Am I good enough? And the wounds, the core wounds that we tend to gravitate to.
Yeah.
Love the Gene Keys work.
Yeah. And I resonated a lot with your like aspects on drive. I'm like, yeah, I've seen a lot of that in myself for my own reasons, I'm sure, but they're just never enough. They're never stopping, thinking that was the whole point. And yeah, it still is for me, but the purpose is clearer, and I enjoy the purpose of it more now than I did back when I was doing it for whatever reason. So
For different reasons, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
I won't go into that. There's too many. But yeah. Thanks for the question.
Does anybody else want to say anything? Love to hear your comments, Davey. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, good question, Pat. I've got to say, like, I was watching your talk for the last sort of 20, 30 minutes, whatever, and I thought, you look beautiful, Pat. You look great. Seriously.
Thank you, Davey.
I can see a shift exactly as you're talking, because when I first come on, I'm looking at you, I thought, bloody hell, she looks good. And then as you're talking and you're going through your story and that, I thought, that's what it is. It's this softening and it's this letting go, exactly what you've explained and spoke about, where you see the beautiful, real person instead of the front, the mask, which we all tend to do in a sense, when we're deep in that needing to do something, But
And Davey can say that because he saw me at the gates of hell.
I wouldn't see you at the gates of hell, mate. But, well, you weren't from my point of view. You may have been.
I was at my own personal gate,
yeah.
Davey. But definitely a series of softenings.
Yeah, beautiful, Pat. The question with regards to letting go, it's like, I'm very capable of letting go and very comfortable of letting go with regards to like spirit and this type of work and that, and I have done on many occasions, whether it's in plant medicines or conversations or coaching or whatever, but when you took on my little journey before, it was really weird because it was like where you want to walk in nature and whatever, and I found myself in Australia, but I was barefooted, and I thought, ooh, this is really hurting my feet. And then I thought, no, I didn't like this. I'm not in Australia. And then you mentioned the beach, and I'm like, no, I like the forest, the trees, the grass. And then I went back to England, like the lush woods, but like with a grassy area, which was wet and it was nice and soft for my feet. So I was walking bare feet in the woods in England. Then you said the portal, and I seen this little thing opened up, and it was a badger. Can you believe? And I was thinking, where the hell did that come from? And it was a badger on the other side of the portal. And when you said what you're working on or what do you need, it was the need to work. So I'm still working with that need to work, which I'm well aware of, and I was just told Angie about it like an hour ago, literally, and it's because I love this work so much, I'm quite comfortable working 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, because it doesn't seem like work. But it's still like that need to get it done to a certain standard, to present to people, to help people, to be acknowledged and respected. That's like the full process, to then get that attaboy, well done, and all that sort of thing, like that full circle of, and when I go through that process, I can dismantle it and let it go at every level, and I have done over the years doing this work and that, but it's just, it was very clear, like the need to work, so thanks, Beth.
That's interesting. You need to go and look up the spiritual significance of a badger, Davey.
The badger, that's what I was thinking. I've written it down because I'm thinking I'll never remember that, and it was like, how could you not remember that? Even as I was writing it down, I'm thinking, how the hell could you not remember that?
Was it a Scouser badger?
A black and white one, a Geordie badger.
You got that wrong.
Yeah. Exactly. No, it was spot on, but thank you. No, love
good.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, my love. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Mandy, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I can say something. Beautiful question. Thank you for being so very vulnerable, Lorraine. I loved how you shared, and I see the beauty in you too. It's so beautiful just to watch it, because I can relate to so many things that you've shared. And the softening is just so beautiful, because I just had a recent breakthrough myself on the softening part. And for me, what came up when you shared the beautiful meditation, I loved the drums, and I was on the beach and I saw my great grandfather there. And what held me back was overprotection, because I felt I'm overprotecting myself for the need of being safe.
Yeah.
And can I fully surrender? For the last probably 24 months, I've been on a real letting go, surrendering journey, just probably surrendering more than is good for me at times. But I'm just trusting that all that is meant for me is there and nothing bad will happen. But that whatever I will face, I have mechanisms inside of me, even though I might not be conscious of them, that I will be able to master whatever comes my way. So, safety, I was always held back because I had this, like, I didn't want to surrender to safety because I was in conflict with a limiting belief that revolved around being responsible for my son. So I'm a single mom, and so I'm going, oh, if I fully surrender, it feels like I'm not taking care for, no, he's looking at me. So it feels like I'm not taking care responsibly because I'm just, like, surrendering sometimes has the energy that, oh, I'm just leaning back and letting life flow, which I'd love to do. But I felt a little bit guilty that I should take control of things that probably I can't even control, which my mind and my heart are in conflict with. My mind thinks I can control it, but my heart knows I can't control hardly anything. And I'm happy with that in my heart. But my mind just sometimes takes me down that path where it says, just try. Your heart might be wrong. And then I'm going, but this is doubt. And that comes back to trusting myself or not. So I'm going on this wheel. And I just gotta look at my little journaling, what I was writing down. And so it just came down to surrendering to my limiting belief on safety and what safety means. And when I came to that point of softening, I just felt I needed to, like, in true essence, I feel softening is my natural essence. And I want to be soft, but I didn't feel it's safe to be soft because I felt softness equates weakness. And that, which I switched around now, I feel that softness is actually a strength. But I had to not convince myself, but I had to feel and embody it within myself. And I'm now 100% feeling it. But then I was really in conflict with myself because all those years I've lived in the belief that it is that way. And I felt I betrayed myself. So I had to just shuffle that around. But now I feel safe. Now I'm good. And I don't place it on an outside person anymore to make me feel safe. But I feel that safe within myself. And I've already been thrown a few things today that could have made me feel very unsafe. But I'm going, no, I'm not taking this. And I'm just removing myself from this situation right now. And I'm good. And I'm not even taking it on emotionally. So it shifts. Like, I can understand what you mean when you go through certain processes. And it's great looking after that for yourself. But then also when you have a young one to mind and to look after and be available for, it's a different conversation.
Yeah,
So,
I can totally resonate with that. I've got a little 8-year-old girl.
yeah.
And I'm all about surrender and trust, but with a certain kick-ass ninja responsibility. You're not going to harm my little girl.
Yeah, exactly.
These other humans.
Yes.
Trust in the universe. But
Yeah.
yeah, it can be a bit of a minefield to navigate that old thought process. I
Especially
do love
when you're very intuitive, you know.
and that can allow you to be then a little bit more responsible, you know, because you can feel when to step in and when not. But I'm loving these conversations. You got some great people in the room, Peter. These are proper conversations.
Yeah, it's good to have them, and we learn from each other. Like, everyone shares something and then triggers another thought, and then you go, oh, I've been there. I'm not alone. It's cool. But thank you. I make room for the next person to share. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mandy. Nice
You're
to meet
welcome,
you.
Lorraine. Likewise. Thank you.
Are you there, Dan? He's still working. He might not be able to talk.
No obligation. But the opportunity for anyone, if they have any questions for Lorraine while we have her. Is there anything that you've been thinking about?
Yeah, go on, Davey.
Davey?
Yeah, when did when you were talking before about this letting go, when did that occur? How long ago?
That's only a few months ago, Davey.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's obviously
you saw me beforehand at the gates of hell.
Yeah. That's
so the softenings have been coming on maybe for about 18 months now, so little realizations, but that total breakthrough, I've had enough, my life is not working for me like this, was only a few months ago.
Yeah. That's what I was there. That's what I was thinking, because it's like I get it on. And that letting go, and I think, in a bit like what Mandy's saying about, for me, like worrying about a son or whatever, or safety first, and you with your daughter and whatever. The universe, when we let go at this level, like this real core level, this deep resonance level, it's the universe isn't gonna give you anything apart from good, apart from love and
divine
service. And it's divine, it's not going to do anything that's going to hurt anyone. It's been waiting for you all your life, literally waiting for this moment. And then when you do let it go, and then click, 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 it's like, what the hell? Exactly what you're just saying, like, how does that happen? And it's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? We've been telling you this all your life, and the daft thing is, and the daft thing is, we hear other people say it and whatever, and it's like, and then you're like, yeah, but it'll be different for me. But it's not. It's just there for everyone. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Davey.
You hit that on the head, Davey. The thought that it works for other people and not for me, I think, is so common, because we get so many stories, success stories, and things that we kind of hang on to and wonder, what they were doing that we aren't, and that they obviously had some sort of luck or something happened to them alongside that they're not telling us. But...
Nope.
Nope. And, we have that, Justin talks about time, we have, as much as we don't know how much time we have the ability to be able to test these processes and try them on for size. So without, letting go and letting your whole life unravel, if that's a fear that you have, by, trying this out, like maybe, give yourself a little 3 months or something of just really working on that letting go phase, and just putting a little, marker in, and just saying, all right, okay, I'm really gonna see how this letting go can work for me, and maybe start journaling and writing down, what that process looks like, and are you on track, and what's changing for you, and that way you can actually, see for yourself a little clearer about what is actually happening.
I think I love the journaling aspect of it, Peter. I'm journaling like a crazy woman at the minute, but I think that when your decision is made and the letting go, the changes are instant. There's no separation. We don't have to wait months to see what's happening. It happens instantly. No, that's been my experience anyway.
Just on a quick one, if I can. We're talking about manifestation, which is fundamentally like letting go and creating the life you desire, the life you've always wanted. And me and Andrew were on holiday recently, and we got involved, like, when my brother, who's really into manifestation, I wrote this script in Fiji. We get home, this is like 2 months ago, and within 5 days of us getting home, and part of this manifestation script was about the EQ Centre, about bringing more money in, because it doesn't really bring enough money in. We give the place away for free, and whatever. And Angie's like, oh, I rented to someone at the factory, stack boxes in, and I'm like, no, and of course it's like, I want to make money out of it. And within 5 days, there was a dance studio broke down, there was another one coming, there was someone else, and we literally created about another 20 grand a year within 5 days of coming home. And it was like, how the hell is that? There was 3 people who rang me within 5 days about helping to get sales for the EQ Centre. And I thought, bloody hell, how is that possible? But it was exactly what we're talking about. Just putting it out there and just letting go, you know, just watching the universe do its stuff, you know.
And was Angie happy with that?
I'm very happy.
More holidays, more manifesting, more holidays.
But we're just on about, it's our 60th next year. That's exactly what we're just discussing tonight, about going on holiday. It just, because that's the thing, it just keeps going round, enjoying your life, you know, loving it, you know, just living it to the fullest, you know. Nice.
Wonder.
Brilliant.
I do want to ask you something, Lorraine, quickly.
Yeah.
So I like how you said, like, when you make that decision, right, like it happens instantly, right? And I find, like, I just wrote it in the chat, and I want to know if this resonates with you in that context, as someone I can imagine has been there. And it's like that decision, right? The decision of letting go, it being so certain, is like that metaphor I've just written. Like, if that's a stable decision, if it's stable, if it makes sense, if it's undying, unwavering, if you believe in it, if it's not going to flicker or burn out, if you're absolutely certain, it's like the point in time will attract it. Like, it starts happening because it can rely on you, because you can rely on yourself and your decision. And I don't know, I just wanted to know if that made sense.
Absolutely beautiful and absolutely perfect. And it's the beauty of the present moment and everything that we're expressing in that moment. Did you write that?
Yeah. So it's funny. I wrote this whole thing last night on the Infinite Man group, and everything word by word I've been able to like tie into this conversation tonight. I'm actually going to have a chat with you, Peter, later, because I even wrote a note saying, if you're understood, if you're understood, and then I heard you say, letting it go, I'm there now, I'm all ears. I'm like, wait a minute. But,
that's beautiful. I think that's really beautiful. Actually, I'm going to copy and paste that.
I'll send you the whole thing if you want.
Yeah, thank you. That would be great. I wasn't sure if you were copy and paste it. It's pretty profound poetry you got in there.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you the chapters. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're giving Justin a nice head massage.
Like I said, I wrote it last night. I surrendered last night, and I was just like downloading. And then what did you say, Peter? You were like, I was like, I was on a different level last night. I was just walking around on a different plane. It made pure sense. And I was just like, it's going to sound wacky to a lot of people or out of context or something, but
I think you need to workshop it. Yeah.
I know. I want to create animations to try and visualize it and get people to the point of the concepts quicker to make sense of it.
Yeah, drip feed.
ChatGTP with DALL-E is beautiful at drawing graphics. You can paste that in and tell it to give
you a
presentation. They're mind-blowing.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the video I did earlier today. It's almost ready, but I want to now animate it to make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
send it on.
Yeah.
Send it on. Thank you.
No, thanks. I wanted to ask if it made sense, just because this was what you were talking about, and
100%.
So thank you.
100%. It lands. 100%. You know, it resonates. It lands. It's yeah.
I love that. 100%. It's my catchphrase.
All right. Any other questions for Lorraine?
I have a question. Lorraine, I liked how you said that when you shifted and softened, you changed from having a sales call tone, and it was, how can you serve the people? We all understand what a sales call is because everyone does it out there, and it's a little bit boring. So how would you approach the audience or your prospective people now? Like, what does it sound like as an example? Like, if you were to go out marketing for whatever you're approaching, I'm curious to hear in the crazy world of marketing and all of that.
It starts with just your intention.
Okay.
So your intention in the background at the start of the day is, you know, instead of having sales make X amount of money as my intention for the calls, it's, you know, I've even changed the language around sales. It's not sales anymore. It's now service that's in my diary. And the question is, when you've got sales experience, you can shift people, around sales and needs. And now it's just not about making the sale. The conversation is not about making the sale. The conversation is about not having the sale and in preference to service.
Okay, so it's helping and serving, and then those people that want to help will appeal to you anyway because they would pay whatever it takes because they want to help.
Yeah,
and they're not afraid of being sold to because it's a different approach.
Yeah, and I think when I was focused on sales and generating money, then my conversations to people on the phone and my marketing messages are about, would you like to make more money? Do you want to double your investment? Do you want to do this? How are you going to measure that? Now my conversations are about, hey, would you like to come and co-create with us?
Okay.
Would you like to collaborate and create some magic in your business? How can we work together to serve? And when your language is that, then it's landing with the people on the same wavelength as you. And you don't have to sell.
It's really interesting because you were describing earlier how you soften, but I can now hear how you use that in your business language, because now that lands softer as well. And no one wants to go and be approached in the hard sale because everyone just goes, I don't want it. You know what I mean? But that is like, right. Oh yeah, she's different. So, okay, I get it. Thank you.
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Good question, Mandy. Thank you. We can all take some of that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Lorraine. Is there anything that you would like to add, or maybe something that people would, piece of something you'd like to share that you think would be?
Yeah, I'll share a final thing. I've known that this is my work for a long, long time. And I've not done it. I've gone on detours and I've done on every detour you can imagine, right? Until I'm now absolutely bursting with expression, right? I'm bursting and I'm saying to universe, spirit or whatever, right, I'm going, right? And it's really interesting. I've been in District 32 for 9 years and I've never been asked to do a podcast. And as soon as I switch into this work, I'm asked to do a podcast. So it's really interesting. And then even like doing this was, right, so I'm actually going to be me here and talk about things that are non-tangible. And it was actually, this is the first time I've been nervous for a long, long time. And the message that I think there for people or for me is your desires are gonna attract you to your purpose. And listen to your desires. And then it's the same old, feel the fear and do it anyway. Because that's what I would like to say. And I want to thank you very much, Peter. We were having a chat before we come on about how could you possibly have non-well-intending people on your podcast. I don't think it's possible. They would never be attracted to you, Peter.
That's true. Thank you so
much. Thank you very
much.
Thank you for showing up. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you to our beautiful audience. And you genuinely did bring some knowledge, experience, and powerful messages to share. And I'm so grateful for you all. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Go Team Live, The Meaning of Life, Quest HQ with Lorraine Garvie. We have just had one heck of a session. And I know that you're feeling like that was something that you did not expect, right? Okay, you may not have met Lorraine before, and now that we've got this wisdom download and the community coming together, we would not only love to see you on the next live event, but we would also love to see you on the Game On app. The Game On app is asking those questions that we get in this community gathering that you can do in your own time, whether that be in the morning, the middle of the day, the evening, whatever way suits your, wellness routine. By answering the simple questions on Game On, you are changing your mental state and you are setting in motion the life that you choose. And that is a powerful step to make. We've got the very simple steps of gratitude, the fastest way to happiness, your awareness, improving your emotional intelligence. We've got intention, manifesting the day and the life of your dreams. Mindful moment, the drip feed of mindfulness and the philosophy of mindfulness and understanding, helping to relieve stress, anxiety, and feel into, the simplicity of life, creating a happiness and a glow that you just know is the effect of this knowledge and wisdom. And then we have organizing non-doing, by improving your, ability to be creative, and that stillness, relaxing, rejuvenating, and creating the life that you realize that time is on your side and you can stop and the world keeps spinning, and it becomes a priority that you can make and it permeates throughout your life in the way that you see, your busy life schedule, by just stopping for 5 minutes a day. Now, the wisdom of the community came together. I'd like to ask you, Justin, how you felt that went, and what learnings can you take from that community gathering?
Obviously, I loved the podcast. I love this podcast. I do. Learnings, though, like what learnings did I take from this? I guess if I try on the spot to think about that, what I'd say is that there are other people out there that have the ability to understand some of these more complex thoughts or ways of being that I've always tried to help explain. And learning that there are other people on a certain level, and they do have ways of communicating it, and it is a possibility, and other people can connect and understand those thoughts, I think, and are willing to as well, and are willing to answer the questions and question the questions. Learning that, obviously I've known this for a long time, but like learning it and knowing about it are two different things. And I saw it in this podcast today. I saw evidence of it, people going to the depths, trying to, grasp this question and, find understandings in what Lorraine was talking about. So I took a lot of internal learnings from it in that aspect, and it was a really good podcast. It was one of the deeper ones I think we've had, or it definitely has the potential, this podcast, to trigger some depth if you listen over and over and over again. I think it's something you can come back to and find resourceful wisdom in, that you can recycle for yourself over and over.
And a test, like you can actually action the steps for yourself and see where you can go from there. And I love the idea of like taking action from the potential learnings that we have here at Go Team Live and the Game On system. Like, there's actual inspiration from what we have in the community that we can put into place. And I don't know why it's happening so profoundly. I don't know if it's the recording is different to,
Time is right.
Just listening. There's a vibe with the live, and it's a beautiful thing. So
the time is right.
The time is right. Yeah. Exactly. When the student enters, the teacher appears.
Time is absorbing us into its vibration. It is letting us have the impact we have been trying to have, I think, and this is the start of that, like getting to that depth. And it will flicker a bit. It's bound to, but as long as we know it's not the end and it's going to keep going and growing the way it is, I think this depth and this vibration is going to continue. And kaboomy.
Kabooms. Yeah, I think Justin is on this beautiful weaving knowledge of his own mindset. He's been highlighting some gems. So it's a beautiful experience. We'll have to have Justin on as the guest very soon, so we can give him some space to give us that mind expansion journey. And that'd be a treat. Go Team, download the Game On app, get part of the community, and part of the agents of change.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. We have got this.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Let's do this. Love you.
Love your work.
Go
Go
to pow, pow, pow.
Oh, that was sick. We were in sync just then.
Mhm.
Said it at the same time.
Cheers, brother.
All right, cheers.